Hi, my name is Aki Siegel. I teach at the Department of Intercultural Communication at Rikkyo University in Tokyo, Japan. The title of my article is What Should We Talk About? The Authenticity of Textbook Topics, which was published in the ELT Journal Volume 68, Issue 4. What motivated me to write this article is that I'm interested in English as a lingua franca interactions, and when my Japanese students do exchange classes where international students come to my class and talk in English, even though my Japanese students are fluent and have the linguistic ability to speak in English, I noticed that they weren't able to continue the conversation or would repeat the same topics over and over again, such as what's your favorite food or what are you going to do during the winter vacation. And it made me wonder, are we really preparing our students to be able to talk in English outside the classroom? Are we preparing our students with the tools, not only in terms of language, but about the content and the topics? But why should we even care about topics? Well, research shows that topics impact the range of vocabulary students are exposed to. Knowing topics empower learners, and having familiar topics facilitates the willingness to communicate. So topic selection is important, and the classroom textbook often influences the topic selection. So for this study, I set two aims. First, to investigate which topic comes up in English conversations between Japanese and non-Japanese speakers of English outside the classroom. And second, bridge the gap, if there is any, the textbook topics used in the Japanese EFL classroom. So for the method, there were 3 steps. First, to collect the textbook topics, then collect the conversation topics, and then to compare these two. So for step 1, I collected 11 textbooks available in the Japanese EFL market, which had an oral production focus. These are some of the examples I have with me today. And 5 were integrated skills textbooks, 3 were about discussion and debate, and the other 3 emphasized everyday English conversations. I went through a textbook and noted down the main chapter topics and also the conversation topics, and in total I found 162 topics. And next, in order to examine the actual topics L2 users talk about with their friends in English, I collected data at an international university dormitory in Japan. And 4 Japanese first-year students first volunteered for the research and became the core participants who would appear in the videos every time. And they each selected different student conversation partners from the on-campus dormitory. The partners were 30 different students from 10 countries. In total, I collected 64 recordings in total of approximately 37 hours worth, and these are all transcribed and analyzed. And yes, it took about 2 years to transcribe everything. And in total, I identified 1,339 topics, including overlaps. And I'd like to show you an example of an audio extract. And this is the audio of the extract you'll see in page 369.
For winter vacation, so we can come back home and also enjoy New Year holiday. It's very interesting holiday.
In New Year holiday, in Vietnamese people also, what do you do?
In New Year holiday, maybe before the New Year Eve, New Year night, we will prepare for the New Year holiday by making cakes. New Year.
I heard.
So the main results I found were that textbooks tend to have more universal everyday topics such as entertainment, money, and also a lot of topics about the self. In contrast, the conversations had more topics that were related to academics or their lives on campus, such as courses, language, or their living situation in the dormitory. So these could be considered as local topics that are directly related to the student lives. Topics related with social issues were very low in both cases of textbook and conversations, showing that controversial topics tend to be avoided. Also, when I was comparing the topics, I noticed that the quality was quite different. For instance, with extracurricular activities, in the conversations they would be talking about their volunteering and the preparation they had to do for their cultural festivals. But in the textbooks, the topics would be things such as hobbies or free time, and quite superficial. So these topics are quite different in terms of depth of the vocabulary they need and the details they need for precise explanations, and which the textbooks seem to be lacking in. So the same could be said for other categories such as academic life and culture, where more variety of topics are included in this one big category. So what does this mean to us teachers? Well, first is that we may need to incorporate more specific and academic topics that are connected to students' lives for the advanced learners. Can your students talk about their major in English? Can they explain about their club activities? Maybe we need to prepare them to be able to explain about their own L1 or L2 in English. This also suggests that if we want to facilitate critical thinking and social awareness, we need to include controversial and thought-provoking topics, because some of them won't be getting any exposure to these kind of topics outside or even inside the classrooms. Also, students may benefit from practicing on a wider range of topics, even within one topic category. For example, with the topic category of food, don't just stop at talking about their favorite food, but go on to talk about how do you cook it, or what are the nutritional values of it? What's the historical or cultural meaning of a particular food you eat during your cultural festival? These are some topics that actually came up in the conversations. The context of this study was at an international environment, but still in Japan and on campus, and studies taking place in other contexts may show different results. But textbook topics have been under-investigated and never studied in terms of what L2 users actually talk about. And I believe I was able to highlight the gap between the textbooks and the actual conversations that are carried out outside the language classrooms. And I was able to suggest modifications what we teachers could do based on empirical evidence. And by incorporating more topics with practical usage, I really believe that classrooms can provide a more suitable context to better prepare our students for the world out there. Thanks for watching, and let me know if you have any questions or comments.